I'm so glad you're here tonight because we are having a party, are we not? Now, I'm a little psychic, so I know you're probably all thinking, who's that chick and why is she hosting later? Well, lucky me, don't you think? And I'm particularly lucky because my guest tonight is somebody who I really admire and who you've all seen on TV a million times, but I bet you don't know everything about her. My guest tonight has appeared in everything from Murphy Brown and Murder, She Wrote to All in the Family and Starsky and Hutch. Most recently, she received 2 Emmy nominations and a Golden Globe nomination and an American Comedy Award nomination for her work on The John Larroquette Show. Please welcome the hardest working woman in show business, Liz Torres. Check out those red lips, girlfriend.
Are they big enough? Madonna Red.
Very, Madonna Red.
Madonna Red.
Una belleza.
Sí, gracias. Tú te ves tan linda. You look beautiful.
See, it's a Latina girl fest. We love makeup, right?
Oh, we love makeup.
We really do.
And wonder bras.
Oh yeah, Liz. When I told everybody that I was going to interview you, and you know that I know you and I love you madly, but most people don't know all the TV shows you've done.
Oh, yeah.
You've been on quite a few.
Yeah, well, in another life, you know.
No, you did 13 series, right?
I did, yeah, somebody counted 13. I don't. Please don't ask me to name them all, but. Yeah, I've been working since I was 15, so I've done a lot. I have like 3 pages of credits that I have to edit down because people don't care.
So who says Latinas don't work in Hollywood? You haven't stopped working since you began.
I had to work. I was never really on a big hit show, you know.
Oh, come on, you were on The Family.
1 season.
Well, hey, oye, por favor, don't gift horse in the mouth. And you've been on Murphy Brown.
I was very grateful, very lucky.
Mucha suerte.
Sí.
Now, you know, all my Latinas that I know said you have to ask Liz, you know, we all come from these very traditional, you know, parents and families. How the heck did you decide you're going to be a performer in a family that says, I, mija, get married, have 20 children? How do you do that?
Well, the same way that you decided to be a mogul. How do you know?
Well,
how did we do this?
And you know, my parents didn't like it. Did yours?
No, my mother didn't understand it. She doesn't know what show business is. I was supposed to get married and have a family and take care of her. I was the only child. So this is all very confusing to her. It was. She's no longer with us, but it was very confusing. But I know she was proud of me because she used to show my picture around the neighborhood, you know. But she never But
she would never tell you.
No.
Now I heard you started out as a go-go dancer.
I was at NYU.
I found out the dirt, Liz.
And yeah.
A Latina go-go dancer.
A Latina go-go dancer, yeah. And I worked at Trudy Heller's in the Village, and at night, and I went to NYU. I worked till 4 o'clock in the morning at Trudy Heller's, and then I had an 8 o'clock class at NYU. It was called The Theory of Sound. And needless to say,
olvídate, no?
Olvídate. I did that for a year, and I was too poor. I had a full scholarship, and I was too poor to keep it. I needed to get a job.
So how did you get into the industry? How did you actually break in?
Phil Foster became a mentor. He's an old, wonderful comic, and he kind of took me under his wing, and he said, "You're a very funny girl. You should do stand-up." And he took me to the improvisation in New York, and I saw these wonderful performances, and I thought, well, I could do that. And I went home, and I wrote a little act, and he said, go home, write some jokes, string them together, and I performed, and the very first time I walked on that stage, I was hooked.
Now, at that time, there were not a lot of, anyway, female stand-ups, let alone Latina. There was no Latina stand-up.
Well, it never occurred to me.
So what were your jokes about? What would you
well, about my mother and about growing up Puerto Rican in New York. And I grew up in Hell's Kitchen on 42nd Street. And my mother wanted for me what every other mother wants for her daughter. She'd like me to get my tubes tied. And you know, I went to a very tough high school. The principal was a Doberman Pinscher. And you know, it was very tough trying to get boys to walk me home in my neighborhood because it was so rough. There were always 4 transvestite junkie hookers on my doorstep, you know, and in go-go pants, and they were prettier than I was, and they'd, you know, make comments, mira, soy tuya, 25 pesos. You know, it's tough to get somebody to kiss you goodnight. And then if I made it through, I lived in a 5th floor walk-up.
I went through that too.
You know,
it's good for you though, right? To live in a 5th floor walk-up.
Good for the legs. And then, and then my mother always covered the furniture in plastic.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I always wonder when you live in those 5th floor walk-ups, because I did too. My mother would go, you know, I did not come from Cuba for you to live in a 5th floor walk-up. You know, it's like they cannot bear it because they really want something better for you.
Right. Well, you went out and you did it.
And so did you. And so did you.
I'm still amazed.
Now, what was the big break, though? Was it the Johnny Carson show?
Johnny Carson show, New York. They used to shoot out of New York City.
So in those days, really, you could appear on one show and it would make your career?
Oh, yeah. If you appeared on the Johnny Carson show, you were set for life. You had a career.
So when you got picked, you knew?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was, I was a pinch hitter for when people didn't appear on the show or they didn't miss their plane or whatever. I would go in and I would do it. And a lot of the comics didn't want to do that because they'd call their family and their friends and tell everybody they're going to be on, and then they wouldn't see them, and then they'd get upset and they wanted their own time slot. For me, it was money. Money, yes, I'll be there. So.
Now, Liz, when you started working with all these people, I mean, let's face it, you know, like for us growing up, and you know, we watch Spanish novelas or whatever, right? And then you go and you start meeting these Hollywood people. I mean, you worked on on The Family, and you worked on all these shows. Was it for you like really like a freak out to meet a lot of these people and work with them?
Yes. Yes, it was.
Like, what were the most special?
Hello, Mr. Carol O'Connor. It's so nice to meet you. Would you excuse me? Yes,
it's true.
I mean, I've always had a crush on Burt Reynolds, and I went on the Tonight Show right after I got divorced. I was getting divorced, and it appeared in the paper that day. And you know how private we are, and Latinas are divorced. It's not the same. And I was just heartbroken, and I got on the show, and he said to me, "I hear you're getting divorced," and I started to cry. And it was Burt Reynolds, and I could. He said hello, and I said, oh my God, hi, and he had these questions that I had jokes to, and it all went out the window. I was just staring at him.
So what other people like that did you meet that were like, that it just freaked you out?
I met Marlon Brando. That freaked me out.
And Rita Moreno was in love with Marlon Brando, wasn't she?
Yes.
And you knew about that. Did you know about that when you met him?
Yeah, but I'm not going to go up to Marlon Brando and say, hey, I hear you Rita Moreno. You know, you don't do that.
But you knew he liked Latinas. I
knew he liked Latinas, and I was slim then, and I was in my salad days, and he looked at me, when he looked at, he like took, it's not that he took off your clothes, but I felt like he could see into my soul. And yeah, and I literally backed up out of the room into a clothes rack that fell, and I ran. I ran so far because I love him so much. I still, this day, he's the actor's actor. He changed the face of acting forever.
All right, what other gossip? What other good stories?
What other good stories?
Because I know we love to gossip. What other people did you meet like that? What guys that were just outrageous that you can't believe?
Well, Eric Estrada and I grew up together. You know, we grew up in the same housing projects. Yeah. So he was like my first boyfriend.
Eric Estrada was your first boyfriend?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I don't know if I'd admit that if I were you. Are you in that tell-all book that he wrote?
No. I was so sweating that one out. But it was very innocent. He was my first kiss, you know. It was, we were young
was he
kids
good?
together. He was very good.
Honey, I can tell you stories, because I have friends who went out with him, okay? So I've heard a lot of stories. Yeah.
Yeah, he's wonderful. And I just, I always wanted, you know, you'd watch award shows and stuff, and I thought, what does it feel like to be, when 2 years ago when I was nominated for an Emmy, I went with my manager and we sat down, and Barbra Streisand came in and took her seat, and then the lights dimmed, and they said, ladies and gentlemen, the Emmy Awards, and Jerry said to me, do you realize where you are?
Oh.
You know, and a little kid from Hell's Kitchen, 42nd Street and 9th Avenue. It's a nice place to live, but you wouldn't want to eat there. And it's amazing to me that I managed to make my dream come true.
Well, don't go away, because when we come back, I'm going to get more gossip out of Liz.
Gossip.
Stay with us.